Before diving into this incredible story, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, every story has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. In the waiting room of a prestigious New York hospital, the air was thick with tension and anxiety. Emily Johnson, a 32-year-old black woman, stood clutching her aching arm. She had just been in a bicycle accident, and every movement caused her to wince in pain. Dr. William Harper, a respected physician known for his closed-mindedness and arrogance, appeared. The moment he saw Emily, a contemptuous sneer crossed his face. "I have no time to waste on you," he said coldly, implying that her skin was reason enough to neglect her. The other patients exchanged shocked glances, but no one dared to intervene. Emily, injured but proud, tried to plead her case. "Doctor, I really need help, my injury is serious." Harper rolled his eyes and was about to turn on his heel when the reception phone rang. A firm voice came through, "Dr. Harper, you are needed immediately in the VIP department. A patient is arriving for an urgent follow-up." At that moment, Harper didn't know that the patient was actually the hospital owner's mother, an influential and respected woman who had discreetly vetted all her doctors. All he could do was watch her walk in, his arrogance melting instantly. The same woman he had ignored moments before now had the power to ruin his career in an instant. Emily sensed the surprise and tension in the room, and despite the pain, she managed a small smile. What Harper thought would be a harmless act would soon turn into a lesson in humility and justice he would never forget. Dr. William Harper adjusted his white coat in the hall mirror before entering the examination room. Known for his reputation as a brilliant but cold physician, he wore his authority like armor. However, that armor would soon be put to the test. Emily Johnson, sitting on the examination table, watched the doctor with a mixture of apprehension and determined calm. Her arm was swollen and painful, but she knew she had to stand tall and assert her presence. Harper approached quickly and, upon seeing his patient, frowned. "Sit down, or not," he said, his voice icy. "I can't guarantee I'll waste my time with you." Emily felt anger rising, but she took a deep breath. "Doctor, I don't want to waste any time. I just want you to examine my injury and give me proper treatment." The doctor burst into a dry laugh. "You think your pain deserves my attention? Come on, you are." He paused, weighing his words, black. Emily clenched her fists. She had faced prejudice before, but never such open contempt in a place that was supposed to be safe. At that moment, a nurse rushed into the room. "Dr. Harper, the VIP service is waiting for you immediately. The patient has arrived." Harper, irritated at being disturbed, muttered something incomprehensible and headed for the elevator. But no sooner had the door opened than he saw the VIP patient enter, an elegant, calm, and imposing woman. Recognition flashed across his face instantly when he realized, this woman was the mother of the hospital owner. Emily, still on the examination table, couldn't suppress a discreet smile. She knew karma was starting to strike. The doctor, accustomed to arrogance and power, was about to discover that there was a power greater than his own, the power of truth and justice. Dr. Harper followed the receptionist down the long VIP corridor, his face tense and his heart beating faster than he cared to admit. He believed he could control the situation, but a feeling of unease was beginning to creep in. The door opened onto an elegant, light-filled room where Madame Evelyn Carter, the VIP patient, stood. A black woman in her 60s, she radiated calm and authority, wearing an impeccable suit. Her eyes immediately met Harper's, and a spark of recognition lit up her gaze. "Dr. Harper," she said in a soft but firm voice, "I think we have a little problem, don't you?" Harper felt his face fall. He stammered, I don't understand, ma'am." Evelyn took a step toward him, her gaze piercing like a blade. "Oh, I think you understand perfectly well. You refused to treat my colleague earlier." She subtly indicated Emily, still present but now standing, observing the scene with a mixture of pain and pride. Harper's throat tightened. The words he had spoken just minutes before echoed in his head like a cruel reverberation. He had underestimated this woman's power and the influence she could wield over his career. Evelyn leaned forward slightly, a chilly smile on her lips. You think your status protects you from your actions? Unfortunately for you, here, I am the law. The atmosphere became electric. Harper tried to stammer out an apology, but every word seemed to fall flat against Mrs. Carter's dignity and absolute control. Emily, silent, felt a wave of inner satisfaction. Justice was beginning to manifest itself before her eyes. As Harper lowered his eyes, humiliated but aware that he had to behave properly, Evelyn added, "You will treat Emily immediately, and you will show the respect that everyone deserves. Otherwise, your privileges in this hospital will disappear." That was the exact moment Harper realized that his arrogance and racism would cost him far more than a mocking smile. The lesson had begun, and he was now a prisoner of his own mistake. After the confrontation with Mrs. Carter, Dr. Harper returned to the examination room with Emily, the tension visible on his face. Each footstep echoed in the silent corridor, and the stares of the other doctors and nurses weighed on him like a silent accusation. Emily, though still in pain, couldn't help but notice the change in the doctor's demeanor. His usual confidence had been replaced by palpable nervousness. "I'm ready, doctor," she said calmly, her dignity showing through. As Harper began the examination, colleagues and patients in the corridor heard muffled voices. He was awkwardly trying to hide his embarrassment, but his whispers and hesitation were clear to anyone who heard him. He had been caught out. Suddenly, the nurse from the VIP ward entered with a discreet smile and announced, "Dr. Harper, we've organized a small meeting to discuss this morning's situation. All staff members are invited." Harper's face paled. He knew a public discussion about his racist behavior and his refusal to treat Emily was about to begin. The meeting started in the conference room, where all the hospital staff were present. Mrs. Carter spoke, her voice ringing with authority. Dr. Harper refused to treat a patient simply because of her skin color. "This can never happen again in this hospital. We must all ensure that we treat every patient with respect and humanity." The heavy silence allowed everyone to realize the extent of the doctor's humiliation. Harper, usually in control of the situation, could only lower his eyes. Even his colleagues, who had often tolerated his arrogant manner, exchanged disapproving glances. Emily, who witnessed the scene, felt a profound inner satisfaction. Justice hadn't been swift, but it had been relentless. The doctor who thought he could humiliate and ignore his patients with impunity had just received a lesson he would never forget. At that moment, Harper understood something crucial: the power of arrogance vanishes in the face of truth and dignity. And for the first time in a long time, he felt vulnerable. The days that followed were a nightmare for Dr. Harper. News of his discriminatory behavior had spread throughout the hospital. Colleagues, patients, and even management now regarded him with suspicion and disapproval. Every encounter became a silent reminder of his wrongdoing. Emily, for her part, had recovered from her injury thanks to the proper intervention of the other doctors. But she didn't just want to heal physically, she also wanted the moral lesson to be complete. With Mrs. Carter's blessing, she decided to confront Harper one last time, not in anger, but with a quiet dignity that would leave a lasting impression on him. Emily entered Harper's office calmly. "Dr. Harper, I wanted to thank you," she began, her voice measured but firm. Harper, surprised, looked up, expecting an outburst of anger. "For making me realize something. You showed me that some people still think that skin color can determine someone's worth. But I survived, and I'm still standing, unlike your arrogance," she continued. Harper lowered his eyes, unable to reply. He was finally feeling the weight of his actions, not in terms of punishment, but in terms of moral humiliation and loss of respect. Mrs. Carter then entered the room. "William," she said in a grave voice, "you still have a chance to repair your reputation. Start by treating every patient with respect, without exception. Your skills won't save you if your humanity is absent." Harper nodded, his face marked by shame and realization. For the first time, he understood that true authority does not reside in power or title, but in justice, respect, and empathy. Emily left the office with a quiet smile. She had gained far more than a physical cure, she had won a resounding moral victory. As for Harper, each passing day reminded him that his prejudices had nearly cost him his career and that, sometimes, life finds an implacable way to set things right.